Hey y'all, my name's Danny Thomas Vang and I'm out here in Tempe, Arizona for an internship with Wells Fargo. Today I'll be telling you about my personal experiences and initial reactions to the general area. Let's get started. One of the first items that I'm touching upon is the battle between my inner cheapskate and my inner San Franciscan as it pertains to plastic bags. I know, totally random, right? But a little bit of background, I'm coming from California, and in different parts of California, you have two options. One, plastic bags have completely been replaced by paper bags in order to be eco-friendly, or number two, plastic bags cost an extra fee in order to deter people from actually purchasing those bags. So in the first week, I went grocery shopping, and I totally forgot my two reusable bags that I had brought from California, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to pay for a bunch of bags in order to carry all of these groceries because I was pretty much bulk shopping. And when I went up to the cashier and paid, she automatically started bagging all of my items. And I was like, oh, don't I have to pay for those bags? And she kind of responded in like a, what are you talking about, manner? Like, not know what's going on? So I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. And in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great opportunity. I can reuse these bags back in San Francisco. I don't have to pay for them anymore. But then I thought about it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so many bags going to waste, right? Like, it's just going to go out into the ocean and potentially harm either our environment or the animals that live in those environments. As you can probably tell by now, my inner San Franciscan beat my inner cheapskate, and I have decided to use my reusable bags that I brought over. The second item that I'm going to be touching upon is that I feel as though a lot of people in this area haven't had as much exposure to the blind community, and I'm going to simulate a conversation that I had within the first weekend that I was over here in just a second. Hey, do you know where I'm at? How about now? Do you know where I'm at now that I've moved? Of course I can hear you. Haven't you heard about the daredevil stereotype? I can hear you from like a mile away. Yes, you all, I did say it was a stereotype. In the blindness community, we do not have superhuman hearing, and if anybody tells you that we do, there are two options. One, either they have not had enough exposure or are not associated with the blind community, or number two, they're just trying to sound a lot cooler than they actually are. Alright, on a more serious note, everyone here is actually really nice, and I think that their questions and stares are more out of curiosity and just wanting to know outside of sympathy and just feeling bad for me, and totally I would prefer that than vice versa. And I think that part of the issue is that a lot of people who are blind probably don't have as much opportunities to travel out here just simply because the public transportation infrastructure is not as strong as somewhere out in California. So I have had an opportunity to use their new light rail system. Well, new in a sense, it's been here for a couple of years, and I actually think that it's really nice, right? They let you know when the trains are coming. They come pretty frequently, actually. When you get in the train, it's air conditioned, and the automated messages let you know all of the stops as well as what side the doors are going to open on, which is really nice and convenient. Now, the problem is that it only runs through the major cities, and there are a lot of cities that are out on the outskirts. And if you're trying to get out there, then you have to ride a bus. And riding a bus isn't a bad thing. I ride buses all the time out in San Francisco. The problem is when you have to ride the bus and the next one comes in 30 minutes and the temperature is like 110 and 115 degrees. That is just asking for a heat stroke. So hopefully they do work on expanding the reach of the light rail, because I think that it truly is going to be impactful for people who don't have cars as well as people with disabilities. And talking about the actual design of the stations itself, in terms of all the ones that I've been to, I'm not sure if they actually thought of the summer heat in mind. For instance, there's 3 blocks, let's imagine, and in the center there is where the trains come and stop, and on the 2 sides are where the ticket machines are. And for me personally, when I first came here, I was unfamiliar with how to use a ticket machine. So I was standing out there for a good 15 minutes in 110 degrees without any shade. And the center part where the trains come is all shaded and nice and breezy. And on the sides, it's super sunny. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I wish I was over there. I think that it could have been designed a little bit more thoughtfully so that people who are purchasing tickets can remain in the shade, as well as I'm not entirely sure how they were able to keep the machine in operation because it was like made out of metal and it was extremely hot to the touch. And I was like, I'm surprised that the machinery and wiring have not been damaged by this heat. Fourth item is sandstorms. So I don't know why I didn't think about this. For some reason, it just didn't register in my mind, but it makes a lot of sense that there would be sandstorms because Arizona is a desert, right? Well, because it was the summer and people always talk about the heat, I just thought that I would be dealing with the dry heat, which, you know, I used to live in Central California, specifically Fresno, and dry heat doesn't really bother me. And interestingly enough, I just had my first sandstorm the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? I was just so surprised at the intensity and ferociousness of how fast the wind was blowing, all of the stuff that was just flying around, like there's sand, dirt, dust, and even pebbles. And here is a very brief video of what I took from that first sandstorm. And at the end, you know, you can start hearing me say, ouch. And that's just because there was a pebble that hit me in the face. So that's why I stopped the recording. So here it is. The fifth and last item that I'll be talking about is my internship. So as I had told you all, I am at Wells Fargo in their Customer Care and Recovery Group, CCRG, Home Mortgage Executive Office. Mouthful, right? Well, let me break it down. Basically, if someone has a complaint about their home mortgage or concern, they bring it up to a customer representative. If a customer representative is not able to solve it, they send it to their manager. If the manager is not able to solve that, then it's sent to us. Basically, we're the last stop. If no one else can solve it, we get it. And it's definitely been an interesting experience because my primary role is to do an evaluation of how the employees interact with their customers, both on phone calls and in letters. Are they being courteous? Are they answering all of their questions? And what type of material are they responding with? So I've definitely had an enjoyable time. Everyone's been very supportive and very collaborative. And to be honest, I did have my reservations because this is my first time working in the private sector as an intern. And I have taken a lot of social work classes and there's such a large dichotomy between the two. It's like you're either a very corrupt business person or you're either like this goody two-shoes social worker, and like they're so separate. All right, enough about Wells Fargo. I want to talk about the place that's across from Wells Fargo, and not necessarily in terms of what they're doing. I actually don't know the name of the place, to be honest, but what I noticed that was very interesting was it's a very large building. First off, I work on a place on South Price Road, and this specific area is starting to gain a lot of traction with big companies, right? There are these large campuses for Wells Fargo, PayPal, and Intel, and there are large companies who are also coming in on top of those three already to build their own campuses there. And in Arizona, there's a lot of land, so these campuses are huge. And the place that's across from us, they have their campus as well. But what's interesting about them is that they have a lot of water in front of their campus and possibly around it. I haven't had an opportunity to go on the sides of the back. And that's like a quarter to half a mile. And you all, that's a lot of water. I mean, it might not sound like a lot of water, but it's 110 degrees to 115 degrees every single day for the majority of the day. That's a lot of evaporation. That means that they constantly have to refill that water to maintain it. And that water does not look shallow. It actually looks pretty deep, and it sounds really deep because they have a fountain. And I'm just like, how much, that's so wasteful. So it's pretty interesting. Definitely one of these days I'll take a video, and hopefully you all will have an opportunity to see it as well. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I know we didn't talk about the traditional stuff such as the weather or the scorpions or anything like that, but I figured that enough people have covered that. Why not add a personal twist and my actual thoughts of things that popped out to me? So let me know any other trivial knowledge or experiences you have had in Arizona down in the comments. And feel free to like and subscribe if you thought this was very enjoyable. Thank you, and see you all next time.